Israel's conversations, couch conversations, couch conversations, conversations.
Peace and blessings, family. Welcome back to another couch conversation. On this couch conversation, we're going to start a new book, which is going to be the book of James, and we're going to do it in its entirety. And we're going to start with James chapter 1. And of course, you know what to do. Get your Bibles, your notepads, and your pens and pencils, and take notes and follow along. Okay, so without further ado, Zahar, let's pick up with James chapter 1 and verse 1.
Yes, ma'am. It says, James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. Greeting.
All right, so here it is. It's James. First of all, he's a servant of God and a servant of the Son, which is the Lord Jesus Christ, which we all should be a servant of the Father and of the Son. And then he says to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. Well, I'm offended, James. You didn't mention the other nations. But he said to the 12 tribes that are scattered abroad. And so this lets us know that the apostles went to teach to the 12 tribes that were scattered abroad. And so this time it's via letter.
He just doesn't say Gentiles.
That's right.
Like Paul and them. He just says to all 12 tribes.
Yes, scattered abroad. Okay, let us look at Leviticus 26 and see if James knew what he was talking about. Okay, we're going to look at Leviticus chapter 26 and verse 33.
All right, it says, And I will scatter you among the heathen, and will draw out a sword after you, and your land shall be desolate, and your cities waste.
All right, and so we see here that in Leviticus, the Lord let them know here that he was going to scatter them amongst the heathen, and he was going to draw out that sword after them. And we know it happened to the 10 tribes first, and then after 70 AD, it happened to Judah. But during the apostles' times, we know that this gospel had to be preached to them too, along with Judah. And so let's go to Psalms 44. In verse 4, and it's funny that we scattered too, and the same gospel was taught to us, but we think it's strange. It's what about other people? What about your people? What about you? Okay, Psalms 44 and 4.
It says, thou art my king.
Came with a whole you. I was like, where that's at?
Thou art my king, O God. Command deliverances for Jacob.
All right, the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, verse 11.
Okay, 11. It says, Thou hast given us like sheep appointed for meat, and hast scattered us among the heathen.
Oh, so James knew.
So James knew
about these scattered abroad among the heathens. Okay, and so we see that he's talking to the 12 tribes of Israel that are scattered abroad. He didn't mention no other nation. Yeah. He didn't say just Judah or to the Jews. No, he said to the all 12. Okay, so go back to James 1 and verse 2.
My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations.
Whoa, so he called them same 12 tribes that were scattered abroad brethren. So we knew who his brethren were. And he says to what? Count it all joy. So he's saying you consider it to be a good thing, my brethren, whenever you fall into many or diverse trials. Let us go to Acts 5 and verse 40. All right.
Acts chapter 5 and verse 40 says, And to him they agreed. And when they had called the apostles and beaten them, they commanded that they should not speak in the name of Jesus, and let them go. And they departed from the presence of the council, rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer shame for his name.
See, and so this is why James and the other apostles could tell them to count it all joy. Why? Because I've experienced it, and it's something great to have been beaten and scolded for the name of Jesus' sake, for trying to bring those 12 tribes back into the fold. And he says, and they rejoiced and that they were counted worthy to suffer shame for Jesus' name. Okay, let us go to back to James 1:3.
Knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience.
Oh, so this is something that the 12 tribes, even all the way down to us, that we need to know that when your faith is tried, and it certainly will be, no doubt about it.
Will.
It worketh patience. And so that patience, it gives you that endurance of being tested, being tried, but it's there to strengthen you and to help you grow.
That's right.
But the pain of it, don't feel good. That's the bad part about it. Okay, verse 4.
But let patience have her perfect work, that you may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing.
Oh, so let patience have her perfect work. So basically he's saying just endure this. Go through this thing just like Job did. That you may be what? Perfect. Wanting nothing. Like you basically your faith, you're not lacking in faith. You are what? Fully developed when it comes to this. Because trials and tribulations are needed for your development.
Yep.
Right? How you gonna tell somebody don't be worried, God gonna provide if you done had all your life?
Yeah, that's true.
But if you lacked, then and the Lord has provided and made a way, then you can say, surely He will.
Yes, sir.
Because you went through that. Okay?
Verse 5. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him.
Oh, so if any of you lack wisdom, it says to ask God. So you ask God for wisdom and not man.
That's right.
So they'll give you 7 steps to this, 10 points of why.
How to have a Friday every day.
Yeah, no. Every day is Friday. No.
Yep, self-help books and all that.
Yes, but we ask God for our wisdom because we have knowledge, but we need help in applying to be able to make wise decisions. So let us take a look at 2 Chronicles and verse 1. Chapter 1.
2 Chronicles chapter 1 and verse 8.
Okay.
And Solomon said unto God, Thou hast showed great mercy unto David my father, and hast made me to reign in his stead. Now, O Lord God, let thy promise unto David my father be established. For thou hast made me king over a people like the dust of the earth in multitude. Give me now wisdom and knowledge, that I may go out and come in before this people. For who can judge this thy people that is so great?
See what Solomon asked for? He asked for wisdom because he didn't have any. He didn't say, well, I'm going to try to guess this thing out. Or maybe I'll just get with the elders and see what they got to say. But no, he went straight to God and got it. And God granted him that wisdom.
Well, that's that humility too.
Yes.
To be able to say, look, I don't know. And that's the hardest thing for a lot of our people to say, look, I don't know it.
That's right.
So let me ask.
That's right.
Let me ask God.
Ain't no shame in asking.
I don't know how to take care of our household. I don't know how to be a mother. I don't know how to be a wife. I don't know how to be a friend or
That's
a sister.
right.
Lord, show me I'm done.
That's right. And
I don't know how to take care of my finances, take care of my children.
Yes, He'll give it to you. And what you're saying, that we know that we do lack wisdom. That's why, like you was just saying, most of Israel's lives are messed up.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we think we smarter than God. But you need wisdom especially when you're going through trials and tribulations.
Yep.
Lord will show you how to handle that thing. Okay.
Verse James 1 and 6.
Okay.
But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed.
Oh, so you have to ask God for wisdom in faith, believing that he's going to give it to you, not wavering. And so, because you believe God, not like wavering, because you look at the waves of the sea, they just go back and forth and crashing against the darn what they done built things called the sea wall. Boom,
It
hit
just
it. And then go back, just driven by the wind. But you have to ask for wisdom in faith, not wavering, which means you're just going back and forth. Ask God and believe. Okay. Verse 7.
For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord.
Oh, so if you wavering in faith, not only wisdom, that meaning anything you asking God for. So if God's saying, if you don't believe me, then don't think I'm going to give you anything.
Don't expect it.
So when you ask, that mean if you believe it, then the Lord going to do it.
That's right.
You just sit and wait. Okay. Verse 8.
A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
Oh, so a double-minded man, that means you got two mindsets, which is confusion. So you're going to either be hot or cold. It's going to be yes or no. It's going to be left or right, because you only have two options.
Yep,
Can't be double-minded which one argue. And if you got those double minds, it says you are unstable in what? All your ways. And that which means that you can easily give way because you're not strong. That means you'll do anything.
Yep.
Whatever your mind tell you
That's
to do,
right.
because you're not secure in God and in
That's
all
it.
his ways.
That's the key. His ways.
His ways. That's right. Let us go to 1 Kings 18 and 20.
First Kings chapter 18 and verse 20. So Ahab sent unto all the children of Israel, and gathered the prophets together unto Mount Carmel.
Okay.
Okay, 21. And Elijah came unto all the people, and said, How long halt ye between two opinions?
How long you going to be double-minded? Okay.
If the Lord be God, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him. And the people answered him not a word.
They couldn't even say them. They couldn't see you're unstable, you're double-minded, you can't even make a decision. You could have quickly said Baal, or you could have said, I'm going to follow the Lord.
Yep.
But he got to go through pouring water and all this here for you to believe, and that's a double mind.
A double mind.
But so you can't have two opinions. It's got to be one, and you got to stand on that.
You got a made up mind.
Follow
made
your
up
God.
mind.
Yes. But so we see Israel, this is something they've always been dealing with, being double-minded and unstable in all their ways. Okay, back to James 1 and verse 9.
Let the brother of low degree rejoice in that he is exalted.
Oh, and so a brother that is humble-minded, rejoice because he is the one that's exalted. Why? Because he's got that spiritual wealth. Not compared to this one in verse 10. What does it say?
But the rich in that he is made low, because as the flower of the grass he shall pass away.
Okay, but see, the rich, they are going to be, it's something to be like in verse 9, the brother of that's already humble, you humble yourself, then when you're rich in the Lord, have to humble you. You know, that's a total one, because you made to be humble. And so you got all those riches, but you're going to be humiliated. But it's just because like what the flower of the grass gonna pass away. Ain't gonna be nothing there for you. Ain't nothing left of you. Let's go to Luke 12, verse 16 through 21.
Okay.
So instead of you humble yourself before the mighty hand of God, instead of letting Him have to humble you, because you can have all the riches in the world, but if you ain't humble, the Lord gonna humble you. He gonna make you low.
Sure will.
Okay, verse 16.
It says, And he spake a parable unto them, saying, the ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentifully.
Got plenty.
And he thought within himself, saying, What shall I do? Because I have no room where to bestow my
And
fruits.
see, this is where wisdom come in when you would go to God. But he thought within himself, oh, I'm wise.
Himself.
I got the answer. Let's see what happens.
And he said, This will I do. I will pull down my barns and build greater, and there will I bestow all my fruits and my goods. And I will say to my soul, Soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years. Take thine ease, eat, drink, and be merry.
Wow.
But God said unto him, Thou fool, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then whose shall those things be which thou hast provided? So is he that layeth up treasure for himself, and is not rich toward God.
See, it pays to be humble instead of letting God have to humble you. The Lord say this night, you
This
got to
night.
give an account for your soul. But you see, if he would, maybe if you ask God, say, Lord, I got all this. What should I do?
Yes.
I haven't been doing what I'm supposed to do, and I got all these riches. Lord say, he going to take you to these scripts, and he going to say, what, take care of the poor,
yep.
the needy. But
Of
you
your
said,
people.
instead of that, you talking about you going to eat, drink,
Yeah,
and be
I'm
merry.
going to just lay by it.
Now God said, what you going to do with all that now that you done stored up?
And you see a lot of our rich and wealthy, successful Israelites at the top in this country doing that. So I'm going to sit back.
Don't think about
Take
it,
my
brothers and
ease.
sisters. Yep.
They better get it on their own because I ain't doing nothing for them.
That's how they think. That's sad. You instead of, you wouldn't need bigger barns. No, Lord will tell you, take that you have and distribute to the poor.
That's right.
Because he the one gave it. Okay. Verse, going back to James 1 and 11.
Okay. James 1 and 11 says, For the sun is no sooner risen with a burning heat, for it withereth the grass, and the flower thereof falleth, and the grace of the fashion of it perisheth. So also shall the rich man fade away in his ways.
So he said the sun is no sooner rising with the burning heat. So soon as that sun come and put that heat on you,
Boy.
know how hot it be
Boy,
here
you-
in Florida.
Oh, we know.
You get in your car, you better not have no leather seats. Your legs gonna be burnt. Your hands touching that steering wheel. But he said that that sun, it withers the grass, the flowers, they start drooping.
Yeah, under that heat.
Yep. They're not beautiful anymore when you see them, when you get up in the morning and you look out there, boy, them little flowers that look like the sunflowers.
Oh,
They
yeah.
be just standing, they be so pretty, but where did that sun come out around about 10, 11?
Yeah. Go back out there
You
and
like,
look.
where they
Thing
at?
be bowed over.
That's right. You be like, boy, the grass need to be cut.
Yeah.
It's the same way with the rich man. You know, he gonna because you're gonna get old and start withering away.
So all your achievements, accomplishments, all your wealth,
Nothing.
it's going to fade.
Gonna fade. They thinking Grammys and Emmys and Maseratis and all these fancy cars don't mean a thing. And wither away just like the sun beating down on the grass and flowers. Beautiful one minute and the hot minutes the next. Verse 12.
Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, For when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him.
So it says, blessed is the man that endured temptation, the one that's able to go through and withstand trials. Because he doesn't give in to temptation.
Yep.
For when he is tried, remember, he also endures. And that's the blessing of it. Because why? He shall receive the crown of life. And that's that real blessing right there, which the Lord have promised to them that love him.
That's the real riches.
And that's why I say blessed is the man that endureth temptation. And a lot of times when we see temptation, we always think of sexual temptation. But your ability not to go bust somebody in the mouth,
That's it.
or to set it off on them when they're trying you. But to be able to endure that and keep going before the Lord, that the Lord said you're going to receive a crown of life for that.
It's a variety of things. It comes in different forms. And it's going to be a test to you.
That's right.
Because we all are weak in different areas.
Yep, everybody's not the same. But just like Job, his blessing came because his end was better than his beginning, because he was able to endure that.
Endure it.
Okay.
Verse 13.
Yes.
Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man.
Okay, so he made that clear point, blank period, that the Lord cannot be tempted and he does not tempt any man. But why? What does verse 14 says?
But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed.
Oh, and so that's why when we go in the book of Genesis, it was the woman that she saw the tree that it was good for food and one to be desired. She was tempted and drawn away of her own lust. God had nothing to do with it. He gave you the orders not to mess with it.
There you go. Psych it later. That's how quick it can happen.
Yes. Verse 15.
Then, when lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death.
All right. And so when the lust have conceived, and where's it conceived? It starts in your mind. And then it says it brings forth sin. And why? Because when it brings forth the sin, that means you're going to carry out that thing that has conceived in your mind. And when it is finished, it bringeth forth death. You don't want none of that.
Yeah, you don't want to play with that.
And look what he says in verse 16.
Do not err, my beloved brethren.
So he's telling you don't go astray. Don't fall for the temptation, the trials, and the tribulations. Just learn to endure it. The Lord going to bring you out. Ask the Lord for wisdom, how to get through those trials and tribulations that you're going through, because you don't want to err or go astray. Okay. Verse 17.
Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom is no variableness, neither shadow of turning.
All right, so we know every good and perfect gift is from above. And we know who is above, right? The Father and the Son. And it says what? The Father of lights, who does not change. He is consistent, which means there's no variable or no shadow of turning one moment one way. See, because he don't waver.
He's a God of light.
He's consistent and you can count on it.
That's right.
And that's why James made the emphasis telling us to have faith and not waver in it, but to trust God. Because just like God, he wants us to be like him. Put on his characteristics. He got faith. And he's consistent. He ain't one way. He say, I changed not. He ain't tossed to and fro.
Yeah.
Oh, Israel done act up. Let me see. Him, no.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you but one
No,
time.
I'm still the God of Abraham,
That's
Isaac, and
the-
Jacob. I
that's
still
right.
made a covenant with all 12 tribes.
That's right.
I ain't changed a bit. Now
He
they
ain't
have,
changed.
but not
Yeah,
me.
it's them.
That's why
the
he
problem.
said, I'm faithful and true.
Yes, faithful and true.
And he is indeed.
Yes, he is. Okay, let us go to Psalms 102 and verse 25 through 27.
Psalms 102 and verse 25 through 27. It says, Of old hast thou laid the foundation of the earth, and the heavens are the work of thine hands. They shall perish, but thou shalt endure. Yea, all of them shall wax old like a garment. As a vesture shalt thou change them, and they shall be changed. But thou art the same, and thy years shall have no end.
So he don't change.
Look like I don't change for
He don't
nobody.
wait.
That must be where we get that from. You know, we like to say stuff like that.
Just
I ain't
like that.
changed, girl.
Yeah,
It still be.
yeah. You know how you Israelis, we talk just like our father. We got a lot of his
We
characteristics.
sure do.
Lots of them.
You read this book, you see it, you like, oh yeah, this us all day.
Yep. Back to James 1 and 18.
All right. It says, Of his own will begot he us with the word of truth, that we should be a kind of first fruits of his creatures.
No, so it was of his own will that he brought us forth by the word of his truth, that we should be a kind of first fruits of his creatures or of his creation. So by his own will.
His own will.
Okay, so let's go to John chapter 1, verse 12 and 13.
John chapter 1, verse 12 and 13. It says, But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name, which were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God.
Oh, and then that just what we just read in James, and it says
His will.
of his own will he begot us by the word of his truth, that we should be the kind of first fruits of his creatures, and that's what not born of the flesh, or just because your mom and daddy got together and created little old you, but no, it was the will of God that he chooses us out to be a part of his new creatures, those first fruits.
Wow, think about that. That is such a blessing.
Yeah, all the people he chose you.
And he chose you. You got to really sit back and
Yes.
think on that.
Become one of my sons, a son of God. When all these other Israelites running around and doing stuff, but he looked
And said,
I chose you. I chose her.
Boy,
That's a
you
blessing.
got to let that marinate. You got to think about
Yes.
it real good and hard. Because I don't think sometimes we really
Think about it.
understand, you know, because we got the word, you know,
Yes.
we have a connection with the Lord, you know, but everybody ain't got that. You better take a look around. Don't
Yes.
take it for granted. You better appreciate that thing and thank the Most High.
Yes, because a lot of our sisters and brothers still walking in
They
darkness.
still sleep.
But he chose you out. Man, that's a blessing.
I mean, he really zoned in on you out of all of your family. Or they,
Yes,
no, not the grandma, not the good.
you. And you to my Lord, I'm all by myself. He's like, I chose you to become a part of my family, a part of my family.
My family, that's right.
Okay, go back to James 1 and verse 19.
Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath.
Oh, did he say be not to be quick to speak
Yep,
and
ready to-
argue back,
Yeah.
but be swift to hear and what slow,
Slow
to
to
speak, and then slow to wrath. Yep, because while you doing all that talking, you done missed out. on what was said about those trials, tribulations, those temptations, about learning to endure and have that patience, about riches fading away and becoming the first fruit, because you were too busy talking and arguing and got your wrath on because somebody said something you ain't like. No, but be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to wrath. But that comes from God giving you that wisdom to do that.
That's right.
Okay?
You have to train that tongue. Boy, that thing know it can get there.
Yes. Stop it. Verse 20.
For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God.
Oh. And because why? When you being tried and tested, sometimes we try to handle things ourselves. Talking about we gonna bust them up, bust them in the mouth, clunk them side the head with this.
Boy, this
You just gonna straight set it off. Got one more time.
I wish you would. You don't know me.
But look how long the Lord has put up with us as a people. You got some long patience.
Sure do.
Some real endurance. Let us go to Ecclesiastes 7 and verse 9.
Okay. This one usually get me sometimes.
Oh, Lord.
So I gotta. Okay, here we go. I made it. I said it's either in front of Psalms
You
or
know
in
it's
front
somewhere
of.
between
Let me
them.
keep flipping across there. Okay, Ecclesiastes 7 and 9 says, Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools.
See? And that's that. Don't be swift to be angry. Because anger rested in the bosom of fools, which means you ain't got no wisdom on how to handle situations.
That's right.
And so the Lord calls you a fool because that's where that anger rests, is in your bosom. What's in your bosom? Well, most people say your heart.
Yeah.
But we know it's here.
Your mind. Yeah. You need to control
That.
anger.
It'll get you in trouble. Okay. Back to James 1 and 21.
Wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your souls.
All right. So he says to get rid of all of that. He didn't say keep some of it what you like. He said no, get rid of all.
Yeah.
Not some, all. In filthiness and excess of naughtiness. You know, those is just basically sin. And he's just describing what it is. As he's just saying superfluities of naughtiness and filthiness.
Yep. Get it out your life. Get it out your lifestyle.
Yep.
Purge it out. It's like that's why, it's important to understand these feast days, because that's what we learn, like purging out the unleavened
Yes.
bread. That's that right there.
Right there.
You looking at it. What bread I need to purge out? That right there. Filthiness and superfluity of
naughtiness.
Naughty.
And he says what? And receive. That
And
means you have to receive it. With what? Meekness. You got to receive with meekness. Basically, he's telling you to humble yourselves and receive the word of God.
Because that's what's going to clean that up.
Yes.
That filthiness.
And that's what's going to save your souls. That's what he said.
So you just looked at you just saw, we see right here the Feast of Unleavened
Bread right there.
You're purging out the leaven and you eating the unleavened bread,
That's right.
which is the word of God,
That's right.
which is going to save you.
Save you. Let's go to Ezekiel 18 and 31. Yep, purge all of that out you. Stop being naughty. Too bad. And this ain't no darn Santa list. I'm a naughty and nice. You a God-head list.
He's going to see who's naughty or nice. No, darn well, that's a spinoff of God.
That's what it is.
Ezekiel 18 and 31.
Okay.
Cast away from you all your transgressions, whereby you have transgressed, and make you a new heart and a new spirit. For why will you die, O house of Israel?
Oh, so just what James said, but he said it a
Same
different
thing.
way. So he's saying the same thing. Get rid of all of that filthiness and excessive naughtiness, or your transgressions, Israel. Because didn't James say to the 12 tribes?
To the 12 tribes.
Didn't it already say, O house of Israel?
O house of Israel.
That's what it just said. And it says, and make you a new heart and a new spirit. Get you a new mind with this what? Engrafted word.
Yes, sir.
He said what? Why will you die?
Why?
But James just told you, why die when you can humble yourself and receive this engrafted word, which is able to save
your soul.
your souls. They weren't saying nothing different.
They were saying the same thing.
Same thing. Just saying a different way, but they saying the same thing.
Because you know they be quick to lie on the apostles.
Yeah,
like they brought
talk
something brand
different.
new.
No, same thing. Okay, back to James 1:22.
It says, but be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves.
Oh, so don't just listen to the word. You have to do what it says.
To my son, ooh, that was a sure enough word.
Ooh, that
This
was
sample.
good. Yeah, the word was hot, straight fire. Okay, but he said, don't just listen to the word. Do what it says.
Do what it says.
Otherwise, what he said, you just deceiving yourselves.
You just fooling yourself.
Who I fool myself.
Yeah.
I might well not even listen if I ain't gonna do it.
Right.
Verse 23.
For if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass.
Oh, so anyone that is listening to this word but don't do what it says, it's just like someone who looks in the mirror and you don't forget what you look like. What clothes I had on?
Yeah.
What shoes up? What? How I did my hair? No.
You got to keep checking in the mirror.
Yeah.
I see women do it all the time. You
Just-
go in the
yes.
bathroom and they got a stand-up mirror. She behind because she trying to remember, okay, yep.
Yeah. That's right.
Hair still right, clothes
Yeah.
still. Okay, I got it on the back.
That's right. Verse 24.
For he beholdeth himself and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was.
You done looked in the mirror at yourself and you still don't know. Immediately, you forget straightway what you look, what manner of person you was, what you had on. That's what you looked like. Verse 25.
But whoso looketh unto the perfect law of liberty and continueth therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed.
And we're going to find out why down in verse 27. But it says, so what he's saying that the mirror here, this perfect law of liberty, this mirror is the law. Look into this law of liberty, which is the engrafted word. And when you look into it, it's going to show you all your flaws. But then, guess what? You're going to get that. Because say, oh, I did that. Well, let me put on righteousness.
Yes, sir.
Let me put on holiness. You know, let me take care of the widow and the poor. Let me do all those things. Because I looked in this law and it showed me that this is what I'm doing. And it's in here. It's engrafted in here. And so when I close this and when I walk out into the world, I don't forget what this
because
perfect
it's-
law of liberty says.
That's right. And I like that he calls it liberty.
Yeah.
Because the opposite of that is bondage.
That's right.
And that's what sin is. That's what all the filthy works
So
is.
yes, that's
All
right.
that is, all that got you in bondage.
Yep, that's right.
But only this word can set you free.
That's right. Only the word can.
Didn't Jesus say that you shall know the truth?
And that word
And he said thy law is true.
is true.
And it shall set you free.
That's right.
And it lets you know this law ain't bondage.
It's
like
not.
people like to say. No, it's
They
not.
just want to fool around
He said
in the
of
world.
liberty.
That's why he said you can't be double-minded because it's bondage to you because you want to be out in the world.
Yeah.
And you want Baal or do you want the Lord? Which one? You got to make your mind, because it can't be both. And then that's why they in bondage. Because you want to sin, but then you talking about you want to be righteous at the same time. No. You toss to and fro.
You like in that Psalms chapter 2, they were saying they would take these cords off of me. Because that's how they view the word of God. He cords up.
Bound me up.
Bound me up. But this word will truly set you free.
It sure will. Okay, verse 26.
If any man among you seem to be religious, and bridleth not his tongue, but deceiveth his own heart, this man's religion is vain.
Oh, so if any man claim to be religious, or you think you serving God, but you can't control that little tongue, you just run people down and, with your mouth. He say you just deceiving yourself.
Yeah.
And what you believe in or think you doing is vain.
That's right.
Means absolutely nothing. So let us go to Psalms 39 in verse 1.
Psalms chapter 39 and verse 1 says, I said, I will take heed to my ways, that I sin not with my tongue. I will keep my mouth with a bridle, while the wicked is before me.
Oh, and so we know this is what Jesus did. He said, I said I would take heed of my ways. You know how I walk before, my Father. He said, I always do what my Father says.
Yep.
He said that I would sin not with my tongue. Because he
right.
could have easily said, Pilate, I'll take you and body slam. He could have did all that. But when he opened not his mouth, he was like a lamb dumb. Didn't sin at all. But then that's that wisdom too.
Yep.
He told you wiser than Solomon is here. They wasn't ready for that.
They showed boy.
No, sir.
He loved many people quiet.
Yes, he did.
We cannot say.
We won't ask him nothing else from
they
this day
durst
forward.
not asking him any more questions from that day.
That's right. All right. Let us go Zahar to Psalms 141 in verse 1 through 3.
Okay. Psalm 141, 1 through 3 says, Lord, I cry unto thee. Make haste unto me. Give ear unto my voice when I cry unto thee.
And when you cried unto the Lord, ain't you using your tongue?
Sure is.
So he was not there running people down and low rating them. No. He said, I cry unto thee. Make your voice heard unto the Lord. Okay, verse 2.
Let my prayer be set forth before thee as incense, and the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice.
All right, he wants the Lord to receive what he has cried to him about. Okay.
Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips.
So before I open it, you say the wrong thing. Because sometimes you'll say the wrong thing to your boss, to your
That's
parents,
That's
to
true.
preachers, to the cashier. Tell the Lord to keep the door of your mouth and watch it. Set a watch there. Because sometimes you be talking back to your mama, but she gonna slap you in the mouth so hard. She shut that door for you. Oh, you ain't saying nothing else. So you want the Lord to have to do it.
Yeah.
That way, but you ask him and he'll give you the wisdom to in that endurance, that patience to be quick to hear and slow to speak. What you said, ma'am, I just was saying, excuse me, can
That's
I
how
get
people
by?
all day.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
people have a
thought
bad
you
habit.
said something, just. Okay. Let us go back to James 1, and we're going to do the last verse, which is 27.
Pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world.
Oh, and so pure religion, the pure way to serve your God and be undefiled before him and the Father is to do what? To visit the fatherless and the widows in what? Their affliction. And to keep yourself unspotted from the world.
Yep.
No superfluity, no naughtiness, no filthiness. But you are walking in the engrafted word. And basically God is telling you to love me and to
And
love
that's
your
it.
neighbor.
Yeah.
Now let us go to Job 31.
I love how, it can be said in so many different ways. Love
Yes.
the Lord and your neighbor. But it all come back to them two right there. That's why Jesus said it.
Yes.
On all these two hang all
The law.
the law.
And these old prophets here. All right.
Job 31 and verse 19.
Look and see what Job said.
It says, if I have seen any perish for want of clothing, or any poor without covering, if his loins have not blessed me, and if he were not worn with the fleece of my sheep, if I have lifted up mine hand against the fatherless when I saw my help in the gate, then let mine arm fall from my shoulder blade. and my arm be broken from the bone.
And how many else can say that?
Boy,
That you
your arms
where all these one-armed Israelites coming from? Because we know we better not say this. But just to let you know, Job is letting you know I always did what was right by my neighbor. I clothed them when I saw them without. When it was cold, I provided fleece from my own sheep and gave it to him. It says like if his loins have not blessed me, if he didn't say, oh man, Job, thank you so much for, give me that blanket or give me what I didn't have. And he said, if I have lifted up my hand against the fatherless, when I saw my help in the gate. Because, rich man, boy, they got it made.
Yeah.
In the gate, everybody take your side, judgment.
Yeah, so I can do them wrong, and then, my buddies ain't going to do nothing but have my bite.
Yeah. But he said, I didn't lift my hands against the fatherless. He said, if I done that, then let my arm fall from my shoulder blade. Boy, you're going to be looking like RoboCop. And my arm be broken from my bone. They'll have to be putting some Israelites back together.
Yeah, boy, you just snap my arm off like a turkey leg, if I'm lying.
Yeah, we better not never say this.
Yeah.
But what we need to be doing is what Job had said, that he took care of the fatherless, those who were less fortunate than him, even though he had the power and the riches to take advantage of them.
He didn't do it.
He said, I didn't do that.
But that's why his end
Was better
yep,
than his beginning.
because see, you reap what you sow, not
that's
just
right.
the evil, but the good.
Good too. Yeah. Yeah, and that's what a lot of people don't realize too. We always speak about reaping the evil, but he said you reap what you sow. So if you sow good, you're gonna reap good. So you get that back too, sevenfold, pressed down, shaking together
without measure, hold it. Oh Lord, so I gotta do it.
Yes, you got to, cause you don't want that to come in the form of evil. So that is all of James chapter 1. Lord willing, Zahara will pick up with James chapter 2 in its entirety. So you have anything else you want to add?
No, ma'am.
All right, family, with that said, we will say
Shalom.